All right, I'm Curtis Atkinson. This is for the 576 class, and we will be discussing one of the programs that we are trying to implement here as part of leadership and what we've been working on for the past 3 or 4 months, which is our Special Fridays. I'm going to go around the room and let everyone introduce themselves as part of our leadership team. We'll start right here.
I'm Joseph White, and I teach health, driver's ed, and PE.
I'm Sheila Vargas. I teach computer applications and computer essentials and career preparedness.
I'm Gary Knowles, the assistant principal.
I'm Kim Osborne, and I teach English Language Arts.
I'm Robin Edmondson, and I'm the instructional coach.
All right, so let's discuss some of the things that we have done that we think are working. Anyone? I'll start. I think what we've done at this point, from what I have seen, has already started to lower the numbers of the individuals with a 65 average or below. And we went from 49% to around 40% in about a week's time. Did we not, Ms. Edmondson?
We did.
That's one of the things I think is working, and I think we need to continue to push our students to try to get better and keep turning in their work.
I know I'm getting a lot of students come back telling me or asking me to add, can you add things? Can you do this? We're really liking this, but there's some things that we think that could benefit us all if, get more buy-in from them, because it's the 40% we're still chasing are the ones who are coming up with ideas.
And I think we have to be open to that, because that's acknowledging their input into this program too. And I think
it's
very
important that they
important.
have that input.
But the positive
That'll
out
be
of it
exciting.
was that they're communicating.
Right.
They're opening up, they're talking back and forth, trying to tell us, hey, I'm willing to work if we can come up with some things that will kind of building their own rewards.
Right.
I do think the students really liked the different activities, the vast of activities that they've been doing. And that some of them would like to do the same thing. That's one thing that I guess we might address, but they would like to do some of the same things. And then some of them have said, I really like that I can do something different each week. I don't want to go back in this class, can I do something different this week?
What are some things you guys think we need to address and maybe change? We have covered 3 of our sessions, and we have 3 more sessions to go. What are some things you think we need to address going forward? We have one next Friday, which is a week from today, and then we've got a couple of weeks off, so it may be a case where we can implement something different for those last couple. Any ideas?
The suggestion that came back from when Coach Hitt presented our data to the board was take a look at your Renaissance scores as well and use it as a tool to help increase them as well.
I think for students that have multiple subjects that they're failing, I know I looked at my intervention class that I had last Friday, and I would say probably about 60 to 70% of the kids in there were really only struggling in one subject. So you feel like that's a doable pull-up. But some of the students in there were behind in multiple subjects. So I think potentially for that to maybe come back to the drawing board and think about our RTI and problem-solving team, and that you're not just looking at all of these failures, you're trying to pick something like the Renaissance or something else and set a rate of improvement for them to do. Like Joey, one of the boys I conferenced with in the intervention, he hadn't been keeping up with some of his notebook things in science, and so I just kind of asked a probing question like, well, why is that important? And he's like, because we do everything out of the toolkits and stuff, and he ended up basically telling on himself that to have his notebook complete means he has a complete way of studying for a test. So when your notebook is not complete, you can't completely prepare for the test.
You're not ready.
But it's just situations like that, and I think he was failing 3 subjects, maybe 3 or 4 subjects. So it's things like that. I think that instead of just hard and fast rules of everything has got to be, that if we could set that, improvement goal.
I had a lot of kids from when we set that goal of Wednesday before, the Wednesday that we actually had to have the grades in, I think I had 17 out of 20 kids that were banned, and it went down to 5. However, even the 5, their rate of improvement was substantial compared to what it was before. So a lot of them had asked me, I mean, and it was even just like 1 or 2 points below the 65, and they brought it up from the 40s. So I think that's
like the homeroom teacher that's putting those on there, maybe at their discretion, if they see that huge increase.
Yes.
Since we're the ones putting it on.
That's like, with my intervention class last week, I had a kid who had like a 63, and when I looked at his, his progress report, it was basically just his test scores. He was turning in all his work, he was doing everything, and after we went over the study habits, I met with him, and we talked about things he could do better. But that's something I felt like he was trying hard enough that he probably should have been enjoying, something else other than having to be in intervention. But I think that's something we need to discuss with some of our homeroom teachers and see what they think about that.
Well, and I've never been more proud of some of our students, because before our slot last Friday, I had 3 seniors come down and basically talk with me about the fact that one of their peers was in for math, and he was going to Adams intervention, and what he really needed the most help with was pre-calculus, or one of the higher maths. So that student asked permission to come into the intervention with my room so that Adam Calvert could help him. But before he asked for permission for that, we had 3 seniors to come down and say, for the school, we're willing to forego participating in some of our Special Fridays to be mentors and help, with some of these. And I just thought that was awesome. So that's something I would like to put on the drawing board for the next 3 weeks.
And that was something that was our goal when we started out, was to encourage the students not only to increase their grades, but to help others. I mean, they're going to learn more from somebody else than they are from us.
Absolutely.
From their peers. So
Well,
I think that's a great positive.
Just me personally, it has really made me, as a teacher, take a really hard look at what am I doing, what else can I do. It's really made me more aware of the number of students that need help. And so it's not just an advantage for the kids, it's an advantage for us.
I totally agree.
as well.
And sometimes, from an instructional coach hat, you hear other schools, even in our county, that have even gone to where the test that they're giving, there's a middle school and a high school in our county that the principal is asking them to turn the test in before they give it, and after each question to list what standard this is assessing. And I think it does make us take a hard look at what's on that grade sheet, and is it really a reflection of what they're learning and of the standards that they're supposed to be mastering versus what.
And that's what I was about to say. When the teachers look at, what that student has in their class, and they see the breakdown, and they see, well, what am I, really assessing? Am I taking up a notebook where I have them come in and write a quote every day for 100 points? Because if we're doing that, we're really not assessing anything other than organization. But as far as our actual class, and just in my classes, it made me go back and take a look at, what am I actually assessing, and what are we getting, when we do this assignment, how do I assess it, and how do I, enter that into the grade book. So I think that helps all our teachers too.
And what really got all this started was looking at the 46% of our 7th, 8th, and 9th graders that had failed at least a semester.
Yeah.
And the whole point is our assessments matching our students.
Yeah.
And what I took away from it is our assessment grade, because of the 70-30 percentile, is that a lot of times we put too much stress and emphasis on the test, and we don't give enough of them to compensate for the lower grades. We may give a lot of homework, but what is that accomplishing? So.
And now is the window, and I think you're the person, aren't you, for our school? Isn't now the window that if we want to make policy changes?
Yes, board division policy.
I still just totally disagree with the fact that our county is saying that it's okay to fail one thing in 7th and 8th.
Totally
And I just think that as a team, that would be an excellent recommendation for us to draft and just do away with that. To where if you felt that way, you're not picking, or they're not picking what
You should
subject is the
have all
toughest. is. You
So
should have
It
to
leads
pass
into the
all
mindset
or
of
make-
ninth grade, being able to drop a class and they end up getting a credit behind in ninth
Yeah.
grade.
Well, what happens is they start out, they start doing bad in the class, and well, I'm not doing good here, so this will be the one I fail.
Yeah,
Well, then 2 weeks later, they're struggling in another class, and now they're in a bind because they're looking at fail. They've already quit trying this one, and they may fail this class.
right.
And I just think it sets a bad precedent all the way around.
Well, and in the way the science standards and all those types of things are changing, I mean, we left two workshops this week. You know, there are situations to where, like with the new science standards, they will be introduced something in kindergarten about forces and stuff, not talked about it again until 3rd grade, then not taught on it again until 7th with Carol, then it really starts going in full force in 9th. And, you know, I agree, we've gotta get away from the whatever
I do.
attitude about them.
I do want to do a little praise about that, is I really think 7th grade, and that's usually the class that we have the most trouble in,
Good job, guys.
is Kim was saying they had the
Lowest, yes.
number. And I think the
That's
Special
awesome.
Fridays has really done something for them to give them a little bit of motivation. I think that was our point at the very beginning,
that's
motivation.
Yeah,
And there's gonna be less this time.
I think it's helped just school morale,
Yes.
teachers, kids, students, everybody. Because when you start that day off, and like I got to teach I taught the fishing techniques and the kids love that. I had fun with that, and I think it just helps our school all the way around to do that.
I would like to say that, just looking at the 3 weeks, that we've done it, the best was the first period. I think it really, and I don't know if it's something that we could,
It's got
instead
the
of
best grade, right?
rotating
Yeah,
it,
it
during
sets
the
the
pep
tone.
rally
Sets the
second
tone for the
period,
day.
Yeah.
rotate
better
it for
day.
the first
I agree.
period.
I
You
like
know,
It
that.
allows us to invite people from the outside in too,
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
they're gonna be much more likely to come in and speak and be a little bit delayed to work because they took their
Yes.
lunch hour or whatever, then. I was
I
gonna
just
ask
know
y'all a
that was
quick
just
question
great.
about intervention. I know that when we talked about, the way we did intervention was we just did everybody's name alphabetically. We wanted to do that purposefully at that time so that like all the 7th grade kids weren't in a room and gonna cut up with each other. And I mean, we talked about our intervention classes
Yeah.
and they were very quiet and very, purpose. What do we wanna do for next time?
I think keep it the same.
I liked that. The only thing that I think too is that we might could work on is the fact that a lot of them were failing maybe 2 subjects. Okay, and so if you have a lot of the same kids for that subject, it may be easier. I know Adam had a hard time looking at what was on their progress reports and trying to figure out what they really were supposed to be making up and doing, and
And
they
work
didn't
on
know
what they're supposed to be
themselves.
working on.
Maybe group them together.
Yeah, or if it is that,
Or make
if
sure
it's
the
that
teacher has what they're
teacher,
supposed to be working on.
you know, if there is a teacher that has the vast majority failing their class, they may be the one to step in that intervention section. They know more
Yeah.
what's going on, extra time, that's just a thought.
Yeah,
Should
that's
we
something we're
start
supposed
with
to
some of our high school mentors?
Probably.
It may be pull some of those people together and then filter out, cause that will take time to see who can
And
be
even if we
mentors
can't do it
and-
during this round of intervention, I
Maybe
mean,
on
you know, it may
on
be
the last
something
cycle.
that we
Mhm.
could think about.
All right, guys. Well, I appreciate y'all's input. Maybe we'll get together again and see what's working when we get to our 4th and 5th and 6th. All right. Thanks, guys.